As promised, here is my highly demanded pumpkin spice sourdough recipe. So we are going to start off with 200 grams of water, 125 grams of active starter, and we want to mix all that together really well. Then we'll add 10 grams of salt and 215 grams of pumpkin pie filling. Mix all of that together before we add our flour. You want to make sure it's combined really well. Then we're going to add 490 grams of bread flour. You also want to add this in slowly because it will puff up everywhere like it did on me. Then we will mix that together. This will take longer than normal sourdough to mix, so give yourself some grace and a few minutes and maybe some stretches for your hands. Once it's all mixed together, scrape off your edges. Make sure there's no dry spots at all. You want to make sure everything is combined together super well. Once you have your edges cleaned, you're going to go ahead and cover it with saran wrap and let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes just to start forming some of the gluten. Then you're going to take your saran wrap off, pull it out of your glass bowl, and begin kneading it. I like to throw it on the counter because I'm just aggressive that way. Fold it into each other, knead it as much as you can, give it a good old-fashioned slap, and then drop it like it's hot into the bowl. Why am I like this? After that, you're going to let it rest for a full hour before starting your first round of laminating stretch and folds. I do this because I find that it builds up the most tension in the dough, and it just is easier for me than trying to do it in the bowl. It's what I find works for me. Do whatever works for you. So I try to stretch out my dough as much as possible, and then I'll begin folding it into itself as if I'm doing a shaping. I roll it all the way down the center, folding the corners in and creating a ball. Then I shape it into a round loaf and again drop it into my bowl. I don't know why, but this always makes me smile. After I cover it again, I'm going to let it rest this time for 30 minutes. Now we are going to perform 3 stretch and folds, and I am going to walk you through all of them just because I'm a visual learner, and I think the easiest way to learn how to make my recipes is by me showing you step by step. So please bear with me. So again, we are going to do another laminating stretch and fold, and you'll notice that your dough does get a lot easier to work with, and it's not as sticky between each stretch and fold. It gets easier and easier to work with. So now again, we're going to let it rest for 30 more minutes, and at this point, the dough is pretty dry, pretty easy to work with. So after the 30 minutes, it's going to start getting a little bit more airy and jiggly. My hair is always in the way. But it is going to start getting a little bit more airy and jiggly and more fun to work with. So it isn't going to stretch as much as it did the first time. As you can see, my circumference is a lot smaller as I get further into the stretch and folds. So again, I'm going to work it into a ball, jiggle it, and there is my famous smack that I do on all of my loaves, my infamous smack. Then we are going to drop it and let it bulk ferment now. Everyone's bulk fermentation time is going to be different. Mine is only about 5 hours because of where I live. Once it's done, I scrape off just the top from the edges and let it come out of the bowl naturally. Now it's bulk fermented and it looks beautiful, so it is going to have a little bit more give with the stretch. This is when I add my cinnamon and my nutmeg. I like it pretty liberal on my bread. I like a lot of it, so you can add as much or as little as you want. I fold in my sides, and then I add more cinnamon and nutmeg down the middle of the loaf. After I'm done with that, I go ahead and start rolling it into itself, and this is what will create the swirling when the dough is done cooking. Now I'm going to begin my shaping, and once she is all shaped, be very careful not to rip her, although I have ripped this recipe a few times and it's still beautiful. There I am smacking the loaf again. So I don't realize how often I do that. So now we're going to drop it into our banneton, cover it with flour, and I put it into a bag. You can use a bread cover, you can use plastic wrap, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to set it in my fridge and I'm going to let it rest overnight for at least 12 hours. Now, the next morning, 5 a.m., I woke up and got ready to make my loaf. I preheated my oven to 450 degrees with my Dutch oven in it so that heats up as well. And I do put my loaf in the freezer about 20 minutes before I'm going to score it. It just makes scoring easier for me. Now I'm going to flour the top of it, rub that all around, and begin my scoring. I do like to cut into the dough a little bit deeper just to help it with its expansion when it's in the Dutch oven. After I'm complete with that, I will go ahead and grab my Dutch oven out of the oven, grab some ice cubes. I am talking quicker than I'm working. Grab some ice cubes. I'm going to drop those in and get my bread in there as quickly as I can so they can create the steam, and then cover it with the top. You can see all the steam coming out. I'm going to cover it as quick as I can before I even get my other glove on. And then I'm going to put it in the oven for 35 minutes with the top on. 35 minutes with the top on. So I'll let that bake. And then here I am pulling it out. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to see it. So I take off the lid and oh, look at my face. We are so happy. She's beautiful. We are going to put her back in the oven for 12 more minutes. And this is where the crust is going to form and get a little bit browning on the top. So 12 more minutes there, and then we pull her out, and oh my goodness, the house smells amazing. She looks beautiful. And here is her reveal. If you guys make this recipe, please let me know. Make sure you take the temperature. It needs to be at least 210 degrees, and there she is.